Hello and welcome. As you can tell by the title, I'm the Obsessed Movie Man, O.M.M. You were probably expecting a review of Breakfast at Tiffany's to come out this Valentine's Day. But there's another date on the calendar that deserves some recognition, and that date is Friday the 13th. And what better way to celebrate Friday the 13th than with a Friday the 13th movie? What, were you expecting Jason to show up and chase me around the apartment? Let's continue. We'll start off with the first one, directed by Sean Cunningham. A group of teenagers are reopening Camp Crystal Lake. Why was it closed in the first place? Only because of a drowning, 2 murders, fires, and bad water. So yeah, Camp Crystal Lake, or Camp Blood as the locals call it, has a death curse on it, and that's clearly evident when the teens begin to get killed off. One by one, and in many creative ways, the killer takes them all out, save for a girl named Alice. One of the things I like about this film, and pretty much all the films in this series, is that they are trashy, especially the first one. It has a very dirty and somewhat cheap kind of look to it. It's full of violence and sex, which, while present in the likes of Halloween, became a staple of slasher movies because of Friday the 13th. I also love that for a majority of the movie, you never really see the killer. It's either through the killer's point of view, or we just see the killer's hands. Another thing that makes a Friday the 13th film work are how fun the characters are. While the characters are usually two-dimensional, they make up for that in how goofy and animated they can get. The main goofball in this film would be a character named Ned. An interesting note would be that Kevin Bacon is in this movie, playing a character named Jack. It's always a plus to have an awesome actor play a character with that awesome name. But the main staple of any Friday the 13th film, however, are the kills. The kills are pretty good here, but they are not as ridiculously cool as the ones in the sequels. Makeup designer Tom Savini was responsible for the deaths, my favorite one being the arrow through Kevin Bacon's neck. A big downside to the film, however, is that there is a lot of padding in it. A lot of it is just characters walking around the camp, fixing things up. After a while, you get really bored. So from here on out, I will be talking about the spoilers of this film. What? A spoiler in a Friday the 13th film? You better believe it. For those who are unfamiliar with the series, I imagine that you are probably expecting Jason. If you are, then you might be a little disappointed, because the real killer in this film is Pamela Voorhees, played by Betsy I Don't Want to Be in This Movie, Palmer. She reveals that Jason was her son, and that when he drowned in the lake, she blamed the camp counselors who were not paying attention to him. Betsy Palmer's acting is the highlight of this film. Her schizophrenic personality is unsettling to watch. One minute she is a kind, loving, motherly person. The next, she's an insane woman who's trying to kill you. I must admit, for someone who has openly admitted that she did not wish to be in the movie, I think Betsy Palmer did a damn good job. No joke, Betsy Palmer only did the movie so she could buy a new car, and even called the film a piece of crap. Nonetheless, she still pulls through with a convincing performance that isn't half-assed. After a lot of running around the camp and fighting, Alice manages to decapitate Mrs. Voorhees, and all seems like it's coming to a happy ending. Alice wakes up on the lake as the police come to rescue her. The camera zooms in on her while the scene is accompanied with peaceful music. Then all of a sudden, Jason's rotting corpse comes out of the lake and pulls Alice into the water. Yeah, it turns out to be a dream, but watching this for the first time, I jumped out of my seat with fear. So that was Friday the 13th Part 1. Does it have flaws? Yes. But I don't think that it's as bad as a lot of critics called it, specifically from Siskel and Ebert. And despite what the critics have said, the franchise has gained a large fan base and is now considered one of the better examples of the slasher genre. Friday the 13th Part 1 is not the best in the series, nor is it my favorite, but it is a fairly entertaining film to watch, unless you are Roger Ebert or Gene Siskel. If you are hankering for a decent slasher movie to watch, I can recommend it, but which one is the best? Stay tuned for more Friday the 13th reviews to find out.